With the right guidance and coaching, can you make it happen?
Yes, I can.
Good, because you've come to the right place. Broadcasting live from Borders Books, deep in the heart of the City of Champions, Boston, Massachusetts, it's Mel Robbins, your personal guru for self-empowerment, identifying your goals, and tapping into your passions.
Are you ready? I can climb Everest. Yes, I can.
So without further ado, the host for Make It Happen, Mel Robbins.
That's right. You ready, Hank?
I am ready, Mel Robbins.
You ready to give out some good advice?
I don't know about
That's
that.
what this is, a call-in advice
job.
show. 888-454-3378. Radio at melrobbins.com is the email. This show is, of course, brought to you by Borders and you by Crocs. You can always hear this show 24/7 on bordersmedia.com and womenwisdomandyou.com. You should go check it out for tickets for that event at the Times Center on September 13th. Well, given that the show is brought to you by Borders, in addition to Hank and I giving out all kinds of advice for the problems that you're facing in your life, we also get access to the coolest, best authors. That's right, and we have got Tom. Now, Tom, I am going to totally screw up your name. I think it's Avitabile. Did I say it right?
That's close enough. Avitabile.
Avitabile. Very nice. Well, welcome. Tom is the author of The Eighth Day. It's his debut novel. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And it's being sold exclusively through Borders. And I got to tell you, there's literally a line of people, hundreds of people in the Borders that I broadcast out of in Boston, down here on School Street. And your book is front and center, right in the front of the stores. Huge display. You must be totally thrilled.
I really am, especially as a first-time author. It's the kind of thing that most people would say, don't get used to that.
Right. How does this come about? How does a first-time author get front and center placement in a Border?
Well, hold on. I got to ask another question, Hank, before we go there, because one of the things that I want to know is how this came about before how the Borders came about, because you are a senior creative director at an advertising agency. You're a writer, a producer with numerous films and television credits. You also have a background in engineering computers, and you also work on projects for the House Committee on Science. So, one of the things that interested me, what do you do? Like, because this show's all about helping people make the changes they want to make in their lives, and so many people, Tom, want to go from I do X, now I want to do this really cool thing. And clearly, you've made that kind of career transition and life transition.
What's the through line through all that? I can't even really put my finger on the thread of what ties all those things you do together.
The through line thread is creative solutions to problems.
Hey, wait a minute.
In every one of my endeavors.
I think that's what we do, right?
Wait a minute. Where's my book?
Yeah. Creative solutions to problems. I guess we're doing what? Funny solutions to problems? Hank, what are we doing?
Half-baked, I like to call them.
Half-baked. Stop it. Okay. So that's good, though. Creative solutions. Is it to technical problems, since you have such a geeky background?
I have to tell you, it's pretty much whatever you got. When you get to the center of it all, the difference between a technical problem, a human problem, a systems problem, a engineering problem, they all pretty much deal in the same universe and are applicable to the same universal laws. So when you really get into science, when you really get into math, electronics, you find a lot of analogies that work very well with humans.
Oh, give me some, baby.
Well, let's take Ohm's law, for example.
Yes,
you can't have any work done without resistance. Now, resistance in most people's life is a term that's negative. But actually, in physics and in science, resistance is what gives you the voltage, what gives you the power. So if you change your thinking about resistance and you go to an electronic analogy, it's bring it on, because it's only against resistance that real work gets done.
Oh, I like that, even though I didn't understand half of it. I'm not as smart as you probably think I am.
Let's talk about your career, because that's the only thing I can follow. How do you end up with a book being the guy who's some computer wonk?
Yeah, well,
he's not a computer wonk. He's the creative director at an ad agency.
Now he is, but when he started out, what did you major in school?
Computer wonking.
Hello.
Yeah, no, I majored in. I majored
just
mostly...
wonking. No, I'm just kidding. That's what Hank did in college.
Thank you. That would be a step up for what I did.
They
didn't warn you at Borders what kind of interview show this was, did they?
I love this. This is much better than, do you write on a typewriter or a computer?
Which is so fascinating. Do tell.
Well,
I want to know if you're writing while you're wonking. No, that's a bad joke.
Boy.
Keep going.
No,
okay. I know. I'm sorry. Here I crossed the line.
Okay.
What can I say?
Well, at first I wrote really wonking in this chocolate factory, but nobody bought it.
There you go. It's funny, too.
I'm sorry, was there a question in all that?
Somewhere.
Or did I just missed something?
It would be completely helpful. Everybody calls in, and it is about changing from here to there, but having a through line. So how did you start to get on this career path to be doing something fun and cool, creative problem solving that ends you with a book deal in the front of Borders bookstores?
It's basically the choices you make in life and the life you choose for yourself. And I see it as I put together a life that would best cradle this, or best incubate this, or best allow this to grow. And you do that with the choices that you make. And
what skills would you say that is
you
for
know
you?
what? I love what you just said, because so many people think that life, so many people that call into our show and just watch me on CNBC, Tom, like literally feel like life is nothing but life comes at them, and then you just react to it.
Exactly.
And what you're saying, and you know, you're talking about something entirely different, which is the same way Hank and I think, which is all about creating. You can really create whatever you want.
I really firmly believe that, but because I'm on that side of it, I can understand the difficulty or the inability to even see it. If you're not in that head, if you're not in that space. But I guess the thing to say is that trust that there is that possibility out there. And depending on what it is you want to do and what you visualize as your outcome or result for the next chapter of your life, by just kind of making sure that you're giving yourself every shot and you have all the tools that you need.
So the 8th day is a self-help book, right? It's Tom's 8 steps to the top day. Is that what
in 8 days? In 8 days, you can have what you want. You can manifest wealth. Anyway.
No. It's about Hollywood's hottest sex symbol assassinates a sitting senator. A chemical engineer sets in motion a horrendous explosion, killing hundreds of commuters and himself. I mean,
Tom, are you the behind-the-scenes government official who actually tries to stop all these terrorist attacks in the book?
No, actually, but it's based on some wonderful characters I met in my time working in and around Washington, and it's based on a lot of imagination that comes from what I prefer to call, instead of science fiction, science fact fictionalized. And that's really what this book is. In fact, one of the alternate log lines on the book is, it's only fiction till it happens.
That's true.
And
wow.
So one of the things that I held to was making sure that pretty much, and to a 99% certainty, that mostly everything that's in the book that's innocuous, that wouldn't really be a challenge to Homeland Security, is based on truth. So there's actual science in this book that is the actual science that we all live with every day. The trick is applying it in a way that is not every day. So it's the stuff that's hanging around, that's around us all the time, but with a different purpose or intention applied to it suddenly makes the most innocuous things in life threatening.
Like what?
Wow.
Like a pair of jumper cables that you might have. Suddenly, with the wrong intention, those jumper cables could be used to derail a train.
You're MacGyver.
Or I could just get really pissed at Hank and strap him onto my Suburban and then plug him onto his ears. What would it do to Hank if I did that?
Jumper cables are the best for strapping to Suburbans. Now, strapping to a Range Rover, you probably want to use a stronger kind of cable.
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
Tom
All right.
knows this
So
stuff.
what kind of damage would I do to Hank if I were to take my jumper cables from my Suburban on one end and put them on Hank on the other?
Well, it depends where you attach it to the body.
Correct.
More damage will be
I was
done as you go
thinking ears.
lower. That's the basic rule of jumper cables.
I'm seeing a scene already in his second book.
When are you coming to Boston and do your signing? I want to go out and have a beer with you.
I think he lives
This is
here.
Do you
excellent.
think that there's a place for me to sign in Boston? Can you envision? I mean, I want you to look around your environment right now and tell me, is there a place there for me to sign?
For sure.
Oh, well, then I'm coming.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, and I'll have you in the radio booth.
That'd
so
be great.
how did you break into writing? Because so many people call into this show or call into the Big Idea when I'm on and are like, I really dream of being a writer, and they want advice on how to break into it.
Yeah, well, I kind of
How'd you
cheated.
do it?
I kind of cheated. I'm a director. So I have my kind of entry way in and through is the need to tell a story. So the burning desire inside to tell a story suddenly makes things that you maybe weren't paying attention to in elementary school or junior high. Suddenly it's like, oh, wow, that's what grammar meant. Oh, that's what a comma does. And I'm not being in any way funny about this. It's all of a sudden the rules and the structure of writing become a necessary tool to have in order to achieve your goal. So all of the clog that happens with many of us, or the fear of a blank page, kind of dissipates once you know where you're going and know that you have to tell a story. Then everything becomes simply a tool that you reach for to utilize to be able to complete what you're doing.
You're a very premeditated guy.
I've been accused of many premeditation things in 9 states, but
I'm serious. It's interesting. Like I'm getting present. Very cheesy way to say it, but I'm really in tune with. You're somebody that is on a mission. You're creating a bunch of stuff, and then you're acquiring tools along the way to help you achieve it. It's really cool.
What he's describing, Mel, is what we talk about as scale. He has this view of what he wants to accomplish. So anything that falls in line with accomplishing that task, even the small thing that people are like, oh, my God, I don't understand grammar, or like at the top of the show when Rick was talking about the PowerPoint being a problem for him, he just sees that as something he has to manage and master in order to accomplish his goal. He looks at it the way we're trying to get Rick to look at it, like learn it, do it, nail it, and then you get your big goal.
And I would put also own it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
what do you mean when you say own it?
In other words, it should be an indecipherable part of you, an indiscernible part of you that, in other words, an extension of your being. In other words, yeah, I own that. Now, you may not. And if you come up to, like if I taught myself advanced digital editing because it was a way to get to a product that I could totally control in terms of creativity. So I'm good at it,
this is the other thing I want to
expert.
point out to people, Tom. Hold on a second. I'm using you as an example. Yeah. You're somebody that, like, a lot of people would look at the fact that they don't know editing and be like, oh, see, I can't get that done. You're like, all right, I need to learn that.
Exactly.
I
and
love
that's
that.
what happens in the book, by the way. Not to get too crazy, but to bring it back to the book.
Please.
My lead character in the book has many issues in his life, which most of it deal with the relationships he has with women. And until he starts applying himself to the human condition, he really doesn't start succeeding. And he has an ex-wife, which I put in the book, that keeps reminding him of what he should be doing. And that's
now, do you have an ex-wife that keeps reminding you about what you should be doing?
No, I don't, actually. That's part of the thing when I talked about choosing your way through life.
Yes.
I didn't choose to do that. But the character in the book, at one point she says to him, your first master's was in science, your second master's was in scientific methodology. You're not a bachelor of science, you're a husband of science, and you can't have 2 wives.
Ooh.
So this is a guy who, like many other guys in business or in an entrepreneurial environment, focus to the exclusion of all else. It's it's a story you hear a lot. I missed the first 2 kids growing up, but this one I'm going to quit my job and become a house husband.
Right.
That focus thing, and usually the first wife went with it.
Well,
why
you're
does that happen
focusing
to
on.
men?
I don't know why that happens to
Well,
men.
the book kind of deals with that. Along the way of also all the other exciting explosions.
It's a thriller with some insights into human behavior. And Tom's going to be at the Borders at the Time Warner Center in New York on Thursday, September 4th at 7 p.m. We wish you the best of luck. I will have you on the show anytime you want to talk turkey about science, sex, relationships, whatever you want, Tom. Good luck with the 8th day. Everybody run down to Borders and pick it up. We will be right back taking your calls and fixing your problems. This is Make It Happen.
With the right guidance